Welcome to day number 2 of my journey to learn 3 languages in just 150 hours, 1 hour each day. Today, I'll be sharing my first impressions and some practical tips that can help you kickstart any language learning journey. So, whether you are starting fresh or already have some experience, stick with me because what you're gonna discover today could completely change your approach to learning any language or learning any other subject for that matter. So, yesterday, I began this challenge with an hour dedicated to Portuguese, Italian, and German. No grammar drills, no memorizing vocabulary list, just diving into pure immersion. My focus was on exposing myself to real content in each language, listening to the sounds and observing words in context without worrying about understanding every detail. The idea here is to create gaps or holes in my brain. These gaps will act like magnets, attracting new words and phrases more naturally as I encounter them future. So it's an unconventional approach, but it's incredibly effective for strengthening memory and then building an authentic connection with the language right from the start. So today I want to focus on how to make those first contacts with a language in a way that feels manageable, not overwhelming. So the first tip is to expose yourself to the language in a very natural, almost passive way. For instance, I'm currently watching videos and listening to the conversations in each language with no translation or subtitles in my native language. So just the raw sounds and visuals. This kind of passive exposure helps me get familiar with the intonations, with rhythms, and common patterns of the language. It also makes frequent words and phrases stand out, helping them stick without deliberate memorization. So you can do this too by finding contents that you actually enjoy, whether it's a show, a podcast, or maybe a YouTube video. Let it play in the background as you go about your day. Don't worry about understanding everything right away. The key here is simply to let your brain start recognizing and absorbing the language at its own pace. It's crucial. Another essential step for immersive learning is using your device as tools for constant exposure. Try changing the language of your phone or in your apps, on your computers, mainly the apps you use on a daily basis, to the language you are learning. This way, every time you check a notification or scroll through an app, you are engaging with the new words, with new phrases in that language. For example, I've set my main phone to German, so now every menu, alert, and even setting offer me a small piece of the language, and I'm gradually picking up useful vocabulary without extra effort. So these small exposures add up, and over time, to train your brain to recognize and use the language more intuitively. One technique that might sound surprising but is incredibly effective is visualization, what I call mental visualization. Picture yourself using the language in real situations, even if you don't know many words yet. For instance, I spent a few minutes imagining myself ordering a coffee in Italian or asking for direction in Portuguese. By visualizing these interactions in detail, I activate the same neural pathways that would be used if I were actually speaking in those situations, as if I was really experiencing those situations. This kind of mental practice primes my brain to feel more comfortable and prepared, almost as if I've already lived the experience itself. So, visualization is powerful because it helps your brain rehearse the language without needing to physically be in a foreign country. It's like living abroad, but from the comfort of home, which is surprising but very interesting and effective. Today, I also want to introduce a new tool that's been very crucial in my journey called Anki. If you haven't heard of it, Anki is an app that uses a technique called spaced repetition, which is scientifically proven method to help you remember information more effectively. Instead of cramming all at once, spaced repetition helps you review words and phrases at increasing intervals, which reinforces them in your long-term memory. So here is how I use it. Whenever I come across a word or expression that I think will be very useful, I add it to Enki. The app will remind me to review it just before I will typically forget it, which keeps the memory fresh and strengthens the neural connections with that specific words or expressions. So the trick with Enki or any spaced repetition tool is not to overload it with too many words at once. Start small and add only the most relevant words or phrases. It's more effective to build a solid foundation and gradually add it to, let's say, more words, rather than trying to learn a massive list of words at once. By focusing on high frequency vocabulary that's actually useful, you will be better equipped to understand and participate in conversations sooner. And since you are reviewing these words right before you forget them, each review session becomes more impactful, strengthening the neural connection in your hippocampus. So before I wrap up this video, I want to leave you with a bit of motivation. Learning a language in 150 hours is an ambitious goal, but it's completely possible with consistency. The key is to take it one day at a time and recognize that every small step brings you closer to fluency. Every minute counts. Every interaction with the language adds up. Even on days when progress feels slow, remember that the effort you put in today will compound over time. So by committing yourself 1 hour each day, you're building a skill that will open doors to new cultures, to new perspectives, and even to new opportunities. So thank you for joining me on day 2 of this journey, this exciting journey. Today, we covered the importance of those first contacts with a language, how to immerse yourself using your devices, the power of visualization, and how spaced repetition with Enki can solidify your learning. If you're finding these tips helpful, give them a try and let me know how they work for you. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see how I continue to progress with this challenge and to pick up new language tips very easily every day. So remember, learning a language is a journey and the path is just as valuable as the destination itself. See you tomorrow for day number 3.